Yes, so hello everyone. Today this is our fourth Python session and I would begin now. I'm waiting for everyone to join. We will begin the teaching. Today I intend to do string manipulation and lists. So let everybody join, then we'll start off. Also at the end of the session, I'll discuss your that assignment which I had given. The questions I'll code it with you all. So if you all have any doubts slash any issues, I'll cover it during the end of the session. So I would recommend you to stay for the full duration of the session. In case of any issues, we already have the recording, so you can watch that. So just let everybody join, then we'll start off with the teaching today. Okay, so let's start for today. Today our first topic is going to be string manipulation. So the last class which I had taken, I had told you about data types. String was one of those data types which I told you about. Anybody remembers what a string is? If you do, you can just write it in the chat. I'll check it out. If you do remember what the string is, just write it in the chat. I'll check it out once. Also, I'm audible, right? So I don't see any answers in the chat. So I guess I'll retell it to you. I'm audible, right? Just give me a confirmation. A sequence of uncoded characters like 1, 2, 3, or ABC. Yeah, that is mostly correct. A string is basically a sequence of characters, which can be anything. For example, I take A is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, B, C, D, E, whatever. This is going to be a string. String is usually denoted in Python with these double quotations. But yeah, so in general, you can use double quotations. Also, single quotations also work for strings. This is not like C++ where you have to only use single quotations for characters or whatever. You can use any of those interchangeably most of the time. So this is what a string is. Now, only thing that we know as of now is how to take input of strings. For example, we take input of p is equal to input enter string, and then we run the program into the string a b c d e. We take input of the string. We can print the string, print b and b c d e slash okay whatever, and it will print the string. So this is basically what a string is, and we know this is what we know up till now how to do with the string. But during a program, we would like to use the string for various purposes, like modify the given string or use it for displaying something else. So for that, we have to modify the string, right? Now, how to do it in Python? Now, in Python, you see uh, each character of a string, for example, like this example, this is a commented string like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. So for example, you store 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as a string in a variable. Now you want to access any one of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for anything that you want to do in the program. So how will you do it? Now you see in Python string, each character has its own number or like its own place, which starts from 0. For example, in this string 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 B, C, D, B, C, E, In the string 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 DBCE, the number 1 is in the first place. Now we want to get this number 1. So what we do is we take print A of 0. Now what this does is this bracket, third bracket 0, this is known as an index. Now what this specifies is which value of the string or which part of the string you want. For example, you give A of 0, this will take the first value or the first character of the string, which here in this case is 1. So we run the program, we print A of 0, it prints 1. So got it? Sorry. I guess you all got it. So yeah, this is A of 0. These are the indexes. Now, for example, you want to print the last value, E. What we will do, you can count it like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So E is 7th. So we bring A of 7. We do there 5 statements E. Now, always remember an index always starts with 0 instead of 1. So always start counting from 0 for any kind of string related things. This also applies for lists, and I will get to lists afterwards. So yeah, this is basically how to index a string. So this is A of 7. Now, for example, here from the last part of the string, you do not want to count from like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's too much, like too tedious of a task to do. So what we can do is we can instead use negative indexing, which is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but instead we start from the end. But here the thing is this starts from -1. So for example, we do A of -1. This is 7. This is also known as -1 at the index. Okay. So we print A of -1. What it prints is again E. So the indexes in the string can be taken in two ways. It can be either 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Or it can be -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, and -7. Up to -6. Sorry, it was -7 and -8. -6, -7, -6. Up to -8. Okay. So any problems till now? You can tell me. I guess that's no problems there. If you have any problems at any time, just write it in the chat. I'll check it out once. And for those who joined late, this is basically we are talking about string manipulation. And yeah, so these are the string indexes. Okay, A of from 0 to 7. This is what a string index is. Now, for example, you want to print a specific part of the string instead of just one character. So how to do it? So for that, we'll take we specify the amount of the string that we have to print in the index. For example, we want to print the first 1, 2, 3 characters, 1 to 3. We want to print 1 to 3. So what we do is in the brackets, we write A of 0, which will set that we'll start from 1 and we'll put till the end. But since this works like the range function, we'll take one extra than the end. So we'll take 0 to, for example, we'll take 3. So third index is 4 because 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So fourth index is sorry, 4 is the third index. Okay, but we want to print 1 to 3. So what we do is we give the index ahead of 3, which is a third index. So it will print a 1 to 3. Yeah. So basically, to print from, for example, 0 to the nth index, we will give A of 0 to n plus 1 because it works like the range. So it will print to the 0th index to the n. Okay. Any problem? I guess not. So yeah, this is how to print indexing in strings. If you want to do reverse, for example, you want to take like you want to only print 1, 3, and can you explain the 0 to 3 again? Yeah. So what 0 to 3 does is we specify the start of the value we want to start printing from, and we specify the end plus 1th index because it prints to the we give 3, right? So it prints to 0, 1, and 2. It doesn't print the third index. So basically 0 to 3 will print from 0, 1 and 2. Okay. Right. Now, for example, you want to print one, like we want to print with one gaps, like we want to print 1, 3, then B, then E. We do not want to print the entire string. Okay. So for that, what we do, we give a like gap index thing in the middle. By default, the gap thing is 1, so it prints every value. For example, we give the gap as 2, and then 0 to like what, 7. 0 to 7. This was the full string, and then we'll give the gap as 2. So what it does is it prints 1, 3, D, and C. Okay. So it takes 1, 1 gaps, so 1, 3, D, and C. Since E is the last index, after that nothing is there, it doesn't print anymore. Okay. So you can give gap as 2, gap as 3, or whatever. Also, for example, if you do not know the length of the string, but you want to print the entire string, you just leave the second one blank. It by default takes the entire string. Okay. And 0 is for the first. You want, for example, you want to print from instead 2. You start from 2, you start printing it. So it will only be 3, D, and C. So the second index was 3. So we took indexes 2, started from 3 to 3, D and B. For example, you want to take 2. So we will give the index as 1. Then we start it 2 for B and D because 2, 1 gap 4, 1 gap B, and 1 gap. Okay. So if you have any doubts still here, you can just tell me. Hopefully it's clear. And also one more thing, if you just want to quickly reverse print a string, Python has this. You can just give the step index as -1. It will just reverse print the entire like string. So it just reverses it to ECBD 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, and 1. Okay, so 3, 2, and 1. So this by default this takes at 0. By default this is the end of the string, and this is -1. So we have the step value of -1. So it reverses the entire string as ECDBE 1, 2, 3, 4, and like that. Okay. Also, if you, I think, give a value which is out of the string, it might lead to an error. Not here because this is the ending index. If the ending index is greater, then it doesn't matter because it's like you're going till beyond the string, there nothing is there. So it will just print nothing. So that's not an issue. So what will happen is it will print the entire string. Yep. But if you give the starting index is beyond the like range of the string, it will get confused. Like, oh, there's no value here. So it will print once again, just print nothing. Okay. Because this is like we are starting from outside of the string. So if you're starting from outside, there's nothing more there. So it's already 0. So nothing gets printed. While if we start from the start, but we end like beyond the string, it will just print the entire string, then print nothing. Okay. And the -1 thing, -2 also works. It will do it from the end with gaps of 2. Yep. EB to 4. Yes, you got. I guess you got it. So yeah, that's basically how to print strings and index strings. Okay. This is pretty important when it comes to dealing in competitive programming. Most questions are based on string manipulations and all. Some are based on numericals and whatever, but string manipulation is pretty important to get good at the coding. Instead of writing long algorithms, you can just manipulate strings. So yeah. So if any doubts, just write to me in chat since it's a pretty important topic. After that, I'll teach you how to work with string and string conversion and all, and also ASCII and all. You can basically think of this as an address. The first one is like the starting address. This is where you have to go to the end. And this is like how many steps in between you have to like skip and go. Okay. That's how it basically works. Pretty easy to understand. I think it's nothing too hard. So yeah, if you have any doubts, just write it to me. I'll look at it. Okay, I'm not seeing any doubts. So I guess you all got it. So yeah, next we'll move on to the next part, which is I think I've done string manipulation, so we can move on to ASCII and ASCII character like changing. Okay. So for example, we have a question to like enter the room, admit. Yeah. So for example, we have a question like hashtag write a program to print all characters from A to Z in small letters. Uh, yeah. So anybody has any idea on how to do this one? Like write a program to print all characters from A to Z in small letters. This is just the entire alphabet from A to Z, but in small letters. Any idea? If you have any idea, you can write it in the chat or just guess, I guess, because I haven't really taught this to you. Just take a guess, I guess. Also, WAP means write a program. That's usually a easy, what should I say, like short form that we use instead of writing full write a program. So yeah. Any guesses on how to do this one? I don't see anything, so I guess no guesses. I'll give you some more time because it takes a bit of time to think of this one. Uh, I don't see any answers, so I guess I'll tell it. See, in general, in computer programming, there's a thing known as encoding. Okay. For your information, all you need is the ASCII encoding. Rest you will be taught in class 11 computer science if you take it, which I would say you should take it because most people do and they're pretty bad at it in general. So yeah, this is a thing known as ASCII encoding. So basically in computer, like computer language terms, each and every character that there is in this like in your keyboard and which we type, they're all encoded as numbers. Okay, in ASCII encoding. So for example, you can use Python to display these ASCII values by like printing print uh, or converts any character that you give into an ASCII value. Okay. So for example, print ord of small a, which should be yeah 97. So the ASCII value of a, which is like the computer language encoding value of a, is 97. So when the computer sees 97 in ASCII and it is an ASCII code, it will convert it to a small a and display it to you. Okay. So yeah, hope you all got that. It's like in general, like some questions in maths also give like a is equal to 1, b is equal to 2 and stuff. Here instead a is small a is equal to 97, b is equal to 98, etc. to 26, 97 plus 26. That's all. Okay. So that's 123. Yeah. So A to Z is like 120, 97 to 123. Order Z. Control F5. Yep. Z is 122. Okay. So these are the ASCII values of small a to small z. Now remember capital A and capital A to Z have a different ASCII value from 65 to I think 90 or 91. Yeah, 65 and Z I think has 90. Sorry, capital Z. Yeah, it has ASCII value of 90. So these are the like ASCII values of small a to Z and capital A to Z. I would say to remember these mostly, but you can always just print or small a to Z, capital A to Z and stuff. But just remember like the basic small a is equal to 65, capital A is equal to 97. Just remember that much. After that, you can just figure it out with the alphabet itself. So print out of Z, this works. That's ASCII values done. Just give me a minute. I'll come. Yeah, so that's ASCII values done. So from 8, now can you tell me how to print A to Z in small letters using Python, like with a loop, I guess. You should have a loop. If any like ideas come in your mind after the ASCII value thing. Oh yeah, also you can use print CHR of we give a value of 95. What this does is the exact opposite of the ORD function. We used ORD to convert a character into an ASCII value. This instead converts the ASCII value into the character. So 65 it gives capital A. Okay. So yeah. Any ideas on how to do this one? Write a program to print all characters from A to Z in small letters. Any guesses? I'll wait for some time because it takes a bit of time to think. Yeah. Also, if anybody is planning to take CS in 11, this is like half of the thing for the first like class 11 entire syllabus. It's like half of it done. All you'll need is like binary to hex conversion, hexadecimal to decimal conversion and all. I think those were done in the C++ classes also. So yeah, if you do these, you'll basically have the entire 11 syllabus done, hopefully. If you do this like carefully and all. So yeah, any guesses on how to do this one? Write all program to print all characters from A to Z. Anything from anyone? I don't see any answers. So I guess I'll show it to you then. Okay. So print CHR for example, this is the program. A is equal to 65. No, not 65, 97 for I in range. For I in range A is the first one, 97. And we know that range works from A plus 1. So like range works like A, if it's N plus 1, it will print to N terms. So we'll give 97 plus 26. This is 123. Print CHR of A. And yeah, CHR of I. So we do this. And there we go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, and this is to Z. Okay. So I think you all got this program. If you have any doubts, just tell to me in chat. Also, in case I'm going too fast, once again, just tell me. Because, yeah, I've already told you I'm not that good at judging pace. So, yeah, any doubts here or anything, just tell me. Not seeing any doubts, so I guess it should be clear. If any doubts, just tell me once though, because it's not really good to have any doubts. Plus, this thing is quite easy, so I guess you will get it. Don't see any doubts. I guess it's clear. If you have any questions or whatever, just write it there. All right. So I don't see any doubts. I'll move on. Or also, if you had to print from Z to A, for example, from Z to A, what you would have done is just taken A is equal to 122. Okay, nothing here. A is equal to 122. for in range A, 122, comma 96, and comma -1. This is the step value of the loops. In case I had not done it the last class, this means that, for example, in -1, it just works like the index. It will go in the reverse order. So yeah, 1 second. Yeah, see, this also prints it to Z to A. This did it in the reverse order. So this is how to print like all the alphabets in like regular and reverse order. If you want to print the capitals, you will use the basic value, like the ASCII values for the capitals, which is this one between 64, control F1, F5. Yes, see, this printed all the capital values. So yeah, this is basically ASCII conversion, and using ASCII for in general stuff in Python. Hopefully you all got it. So yeah, that was string manipulation and how to use ASCII and all. This is pretty important in general for competitive programming, as I already told you. So now we'll move on to the next part, which is lists, which is even more important. If you have any doubts till now, just I'm giving you 5 minutes. If you have any doubts till now, just tell me. I'll look at the chat till then. And yeah, while I'll work on the list. This is a list, empty list, as if you know. And yeah, so I guess that was it for the strings. If you have any doubts about the strings, just tell me once. Okay, because strings are extremely important in general, as I've told like third time right now. So yeah, this is the list. Now you see in list, the issue is you can't just take A is equal to list input. I think you can't take that. And so you have to have 5 and then print A. Right. There should be a print A here. So I wait, I'm trying to take it as input. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, see, you take this as an input. What it did is it made a list of all these things. So you'll have to take it in a different way. You can write it as 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. It will take an input of that. But what if you wanted to just input the entire list, like this format, like bracket, comma, comma, comma format? What you do is you take eval input. Eval is a function which basically takes whatever you have inputted and like gives a data type to it. How it works, I myself am not very familiar with. So just remember A is equal to eval input for just taking input of like in list format, which is this format in case you didn't know. 1, comma 2, comma 3. It is in this format that you take the inputs and all. And yeah, so I guess you all got this. You take the input like this, it will take it as a list and print it. So I'll just show it to you. Yep, it recognizes it as a list and it printed it. Okay. So this is how to just take the input of a list. But if you have like, if you want to take input as a list and like, for example, it's spaces like 1 space 2 space 3, which is easier to understand and looks better. What you could do is use the A is equal to list for X in X for X in inputs dot split. Then you run the program. We can give the inputs as 1 space 2 space 3 space 4, and it will take the inputs as 1 2 3 and 4. But you can see here it took it as characters by these like what should I say, apostrophes here. This means that 1 2 3 and 4 are stored as characters, but we want to store those as numbers. So what we'll do is we take a is equal to int of x. This is data conversion I had taught you in the first class, and this will convert all of those into numbers. I think I'll just run it once. We take input as 1 space 2 space 3 space 4, 1 2 3 and 4. Okay, so these are the numbers 1 2 3 and 4. It took it as an integer, as you can see, because there are no apostrophes here, so this means these are integers. You can do addition and whatever with these, and yeah, so that's how to take input of lists. Now, why are lists so important is because in C++, those who have done C++, they know that arrays exist, right? Arrays are not changeable in general. Okay, like you cannot change the values of an array while you're in a program. It is static unless you are doing some kind of like loophole around it. But in general, it's not changeable. Okay, but in lists you can change the values using indexing, as I show you for strings. So for example, we want to change the first value of 1 into 2. So what we do is a of 0, which I told you in the string indexing, is the first one. So this a of 0 is 1. Okay. So if we give a of 0 is equal to 2, then we print a. Can anybody tell me what it will print? Just write it in the chat what it will print. I will look at it. Anyone, any answers? Take a guess if you will, if you can't understand or any issues there. I don't really see any answers. I'll just wait for some time. You all think about it. I don't see any answers. Anyone, just try. Like, just have a try there. It's not really that one thing. Only input two values. Uh, no, that is. I think that's. Yeah, that's wrong. I think. What it does is, see, I'll show it to you. Okay. So as I told that arrays are not changeable, but lists are changeable. So I took the first index as 0, which was first index. So a of 0, which is 1. Okay. First is 1. And we changed it into 2. So what it does is it prints the entire list and it instead changes the first one into 2. So let's just print it. 1, 2, separate. 1, 2, 3, 4. See, at first the list was 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then it took the first index as an a of 0 as 1. This was the 1. Okay. So what it did is it changed this 1 into a 2 because a of 0, 1 is equal to 2. We have declared it here. Then we printed a again. So it changes the 1 into 2. So it instead of printing 1, 2, 3, and 4, it instead prints 2, 2, 3, and 4. So got it? If anybody has any problems, just tell me, because once again, lists are important. These are the bread and butter of competitive programming and basically all programming in general, mostly, because lists are pretty handy to work with. So yeah. Yeah. Okay, so that was lists and how to change values inside of lists, and how to take input of lists. Okay, lists are, I already have told, pretty important. Uh, Also, if you all have time at home, just experiment with these, and in general, try Googling and stuff about lists and all, because you see, I also have learned from the Googling and stuff. I'll send you some like good sites for it, where there's syntax and all to learn. Usually, learning on yourself is the best way to learn. You'll get like more information retention that way. So yeah. So this was how to manipulate lists and how to change values inside of lists. Uh, Now, okay, for example, you want to, you have a list, like you have A here. You want to once again access the values just like the strings and print it. So here is also the list indexing also exists here. Okay. Just like strings, if you want to print like the first three values of A, what we'll do is A of 0, print A of 0 to 2. This will once again, just like strings, first print the first three values. First we take input of the list, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We print it. It prints 0 to 2. This is the first two values, sorry, 0 to 2. So this prints the first two values. If we want to print the first three values, we do A to 0 to 4. Then we print it. Eh, wait 1 second. I have done a mistake, I think. Yeah, sorry, 0 to 3. Yeah, it should be 0 to 3. Sometimes mistakes happen. Yeah, 0 to 3. 3 is the fourth index. So instead of printing the first four values, it will print the first three values, because 0 to n minus 1, as I already told you. Yeah, see, this printed the first three values of the list. Okay. So yeah, this is just like the strings. If you once again wants to reverse the values, we'll just do -1. But okay, can anybody tell me what will be the output of this code? Like what will it print here? Any idea? Uh, 0 to 3 to -1. Anything from anyone? Record. Yeah. So any answers to this question? Like what will be the output here? If anybody has any idea, I'll just tell it to you. If no answers. Uh, Also, you'll got the indexing part, right? Just making sure, because that's like required for most stuff. Just guessing, but 1, 4. Uh, no, not really 1, 4. But that happens, right? Like it's first time you're doing indexing, so don't be too scared or whatever to give a wrong guess. Because in general, I was also pretty bad at indexing when I was learning it. Every list had an index error when I was doing program. So yeah, what it will do here is, since we are starting from the 0th value, okay, so it's like 1. Then we are going backwards. From 1, we are going backwards. So what happens is, there is no more values before 1, which it can go backwards to. Okay. So what it does is, I don't think it prints anything, or it just prints 1. Just wait, I'm just confirming. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, it prints nothing. So the reason for this is, You see here 0 to 3 and -1, the list was 1, 2, 3, and 4. But before 1, there are no more values. So what happens? The list cannot, Python cannot find any more values to print. So it just prints nothing. Okay. I hope you all got it. So if you got it, then that was list indexing for the most part. After this, you have just some list program. I'll give you one to do right now, and then I'll discuss your the programs which I had given to you last class. I hope I have seen some of your submissions. The submission which I've seen were correct. I'll just show it, like do the programs with you right now after this. So yeah, I guess you all got it. After this, we'll do. So yeah, that was basically lists in general. If you want to print all the values in a list one by one, what you could do is for, oh yeah, I had forgotten one thing. For example, you want to print the length of a list. Okay. You want like which list is bigger in length than the other list. What you can do, there is a function known as len. Okay. Len function. This works for both list strings and in like sized objects. Okay. So for example, we have length of this string A, B, C, D, E. What do you think will like what will it give here? It's equal to len of A, B, C, D, E. Then we do print B. Print B. So what do you think will print? Any guesses? Like what will be the answer of len of A, B, C, D, E? You can just write in the chat. Yeah. Next day we'll be doing find and all functions. Today I'll finish off the like teaching part at length and count functions. Next day will be the all the functions regarding lists and all, and then some programs because programs are good. And yeah. So after this length and the find function, the count function, length and the count function, what I'll do is I'll start with those the assignments which I had given you and how to do this, and I'll code it with you all. 5, the length. Yeah, you're correct. Length is basically the length function. It prints the length of a list or string or whatever you have given. So here is A, B, C, D, E. There are 5 characters, so it should print 5. And as you see, it prints 5. Ignore this. This was an weird error. Yeah, so it just brings 5. Okay. After that, for example, it also works for lists, as I told you. We have a list like 1, comma, 2, comma, 3, comma, 4, comma, A. Okay. We take the length of this list. This should print 5 or should it print 5? This should print 5. Yeah, it prints 5. Okay. So this was the length function. Now I'll do the count function. The count function, for example, you have a list or a like any kind of a string. We have a list like 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. And you want the count of any one of these like numbers. You want how many times 1 appears in the list, how many times 3 appears in the list. So what you do is b dot count. Basically, sorry, you have to do b is equal to list, not length of list. Yeah. So this is the count. You want the number of times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 appears in the list. What did you write, Ariana? B is equal to len of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, D, print B. So for this, why am I getting 17 as an answer? Wait, I'll just check it out. Control V. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, D, E. Oh, yeah. The reason is this is a string. This is the list. Okay. You have given the double brackets here. This is a string. So what it does is it prints the value, prints the number of characters that are inside the string. So 1, 2, comma is 1 character. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay. So if you instead of the the double apostrophes, you gave brackets, it will turn into a list. And since it's a list, all of these have to be in double brackets because these are strings or characters. Whatever you can, Python is interchangeable in these terms. So yeah, this becomes a list. Then it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 9. Okay. I'll just confirm it. Yep, it prints 9. So yeah, you had don't do this when you are declaring any kind of characters in a list, you have to put those in the semicolon in themselves, and the list has to be in third brackets. Okay. So yeah, yep, no problem. I'm here to do that itself. So yeah, B is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, D, E, A, B, C, D. Okay. So for example, we give another thing like another D. We want to, for example, we want to find out the number of times D appears in this list. Okay. So what we do is we print D dots count of D. This is the count function, which is like the name of the list dot count and the element that you want. This will give us the number of times a given element appears inside a list. Okay. So we run this program. Yeah, 2. So D appears a total of 2 times in this list. So it will print the count of D as 2. It will print, for example, if we print count of 1, it should print 1. And it does print 1. Now, can anybody tell me what will be the output of this? Just tell me the output, what it should print. Yeah, 0. I think you're correct. I'll just confirm. Yep, you're absolutely correct. The reason for this is the string or the character 1 is not in the list, but the integer 1 is in the list. So the count is 0. Okay. So yeah, do remember that while declaring count functions, do give these semicolons and all correctly. Otherwise, you'll give a wrong answer. And that's always sad when you're in a competitive programming competition and you forget like semicolons or something or apostrophes, and then the entire answer becomes wrong, and then you have to figure out what's wrong in the program. You rewrite the entire program, and yeah, you get it. So yes, do be aware of these apostrophes and all. And so yeah, that's it for the list function. Then that's it for the class for today, for mostly. Now I'll discuss the problems with you all. So those who are interested in the problems, they can look at it. I'll just end the recording now.